Awesome. All right. Well, welcome everybody to today's webinar where we're going to be talking about how you can add value to people who are highly successful. Maybe they have a really high net worth, or maybe they intimidate you and you're like, I have no idea how I'm supposed to like get in with these people, but I would love to. So this is going to be um, all about what I call how to get in with the three ins. So let me see if I can share my screen here. Um, Desktop two. Here we go. Okay, y'all can see this screen here. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the three ways to get in, right? This kind of has a vibe of like, how do I get access to these people? How do I connect with them? How do I really like become a player in this arena that I see people in, but I want to be a player too. Like, get me in there, right? So, we're going to be talking about insights, influence, and becoming indispensable. Okay. So, what do you guys, when I talk about insights, sorry, first, I'm doing these trainings every single week. So, these trainings are a combination of helping you become a strategic thinker and helping you leverage AI. Okay, strategic thinking has been the number one skill that I've been hired for over the last 10 years of my entrepreneurial career. And I think there's a lot of opportunity to move from being tactically focused to strategically focused in order for you to create value in like how you spend your day, but also how we create value for other people. So, if you would like to, I don't actually know if my webpage works quite yet, but trailblazers.ai is where you can come sign up if you want to get notified of all of the weekly things that are happening. There's also a Facebook community, so I'll link that at the end here. Um, but let me tell you a story of how I got in with one of my mentors that I like totally fangirled. How many of you know who Michael Hyatt is? Maybe pop in the chat. Michael Hyatt this is a picture of me and Michael. Michael is an online influencer. Well, it's kind of a weird way to put it. He's a leadership guru. So he's an expert in the space of helping people to build leadership, build their business, achieve their goals. He was a book publisher for a long time, ran a multi-million dollar book publishing company, and he just has a lot of solid values that resonate with me. And I was following Michael, this was probably like 7 years ago. He was one of those main people that I just was constantly looking at online. So think about who you're maybe drawn to online these days? Who are some of the authors or thought leaders that are really influencing you? This is who Michael was to me. So with Michael, oh my gosh, there was a program called Your Best Year Ever. And I think it was like $300. And at that time, that was like the craziest amount of money for me to spend. I was like, oh my gosh, $300 for this course. Like, I don't know, but I really want to have my best year ever. And so I bought his course and I decided that I was going to be the best student possible. And so I did the work. I did every single bit of homework. I watched every video. I answered every question. I'd watch the video, I'd push pause, I would do the work, I'd come back, and I really implemented and I executed. And later that year, they started asking for, hey, what results did you get out of this program? Because we want to give away an all expenses paid trip to Nashville to come have dinner with Michael and his wife, Gail. And I was like, are you kidding me? I could get to have dinner with this guy that like is so cool, right? So I remember I lived in Minnesota and I sat down at my kitchen and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a video. And this, like, I'm gonna win. Like, I just knew I was like, I am gonna win. And I told my story. And my story was that in January, I had set a goal of, I remember I literally sat there and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make an income goal. What should it be? Like $5,000 a month? Like, no, I don't know. And then I thought, okay, dude, this is crazy. I'm just gonna add a zero and I'm gonna make it $10,000. Like, I want to make $10,000 in 1 month. Because I just like in my brain at that time, there was no way that was possible. The most I'd ever made was like $24,000 in a year at my job. Like that was my salary, right? And I did it. I not only did I do it before the end of the year, I did it before the end of March. And so I shared that story in my video that I posted, and sent off to Michael. Well, a week later, whatever it was, I got an email that said, "Hey, guess what? Congratulations, you've been chosen. Like, we want to fly you down to Nashville." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever that's happened to me." And I remember this picture here. We were at a house out in like Franklin, Tennessee, just kind of like out in the boonies. And he had rented this massive mansion and he had a whole film crew. And we were actually going to be filming not only our testimonial, but some of the content for the next year's course, the best year ever course. And so I remember we got in this big black SUV at the hotel and I rolled up to this big Airbnb and I got out of the car. And the first thing that he said, there was a group of four of us. And the first thing that he said was, "Natalie, it's so nice to meet you." And I like died. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. Okay. So I tell you this story because how can a little pipsqueak girl like me go get into a relationship with a mentor, like someone who is way out of my league, um, and really be able to build a relationship? And like he and I, we're not like best friends, but he knows who I am. We have conversations online, like, he knows about my kids and my family and stuff like that. So, um, how is this possible? Right? So one of the ways that we add value to other people is by having insights. Okay. So you have to know what other people want and what motivates them in order to be able to add value to them. So when I joined this program with Michael Hyatt, I was like, okay, I am going to be his best case study ever. Because if I'm his best case study, if I'm his best testimonial, that makes it easy for him to talk about uh, who he is and what he does. It makes it so that other people are like, wow, this guy can really help people, right? Like, could you imagine one of your clients who just went and got like home star, knock it out of the park results? Yes or no, would that be valuable to you? Like in the comments. Um, the answer is yes. Like it would totally be valuable, right? If you had a client who said, "Oh my gosh, when I hired Dennis, when I hired Sean, when I hired Annie, like they helped me to do this and it shifted this for me and now my results are 10x." I'm saving time, I'm saving money, I'm well connected, I'm healthier, I'm happier, whatever those results are. Um, that is a huge way to add value to people like this. So I want to zoom out a little bit and kind of talk about like what does it mean to gain insights on people. So let's hear like either in the comments or maybe unmute. I've talked long enough. What do you guys think of when I say insights with knowing insights about the people you want to connect with? How do you do that? Or what kind of insights would that be? Pop it in the chat or feel free to unmute.
Oh,
Let's hear.
I think it's like what's going on in their business, what challenges they're facing, like interests outside of work, things like that.
Totally. Dennis, yeah, how to take the mental load off of them for sure. Okay, just sit and think for a minute. What is one of the most valuable things someone could provide you right now? It could be anything. It doesn't have to be business related. Like, what would be something valuable to you right now? I know for me, it was my daughter's birthday yesterday, and so there is wrapping paper all over the floor and there's dishes in the sink. Like, if someone came in and cleaned up my house, that would be so valuable for me. Dennis, quality time and genuine presence. Okay, so if someone walked over and came to your house and sat down and they were like, "Dennis, I brought you your favorite lunch." Like, just catch me up, man. Like, what's going on for you right now? What are you focused on? What projects are you working on in life? Like how are your relationships? And they just sat down and had like a genuine, real conversation. And you could kind of like let a load off, right? And talk about things and really process through and say, man, I'm stuck with this, or I'm really happy. Like I'm celebrating this. It's been really hard for me, and I'm kind of caught a break. I want to enjoy that. Like even just that presence that we provide for people, that validation of like, you're a human, you're going through things, and you're doing a good job. That can be a big value add. Natalie, if someone could give me more time, okay, so what would that look like? If someone gave you more time, how much more time? What would they take off your plate? Like for me,
You know, I
no,
don't
go for it,
know.
go for it.
No, I was just
No,
gonna
I
say
was just
I'm
gonna
not
say I'm not
exactly
exactly
sure.
sure.
Oh, why is
Oh,
it
why
doing
is
that?
it
Hold
doing
on.
that? Hold on.
Okay, I'm
Okay,
hearing that too.
no feedback. Okay, just I have so many things that I'm trying to accomplish and so many things on my plate with my kids, with my business, with my regular 9 to 5 job. And I keep getting up earlier and earlier, and there's just still not enough time to accomplish everything that I would like to get done in a day.
Okay, interesting. So maybe what might be valuable for you is a shift in the perspective that there's not enough time to get everything done to I have more than enough time and all the things I want to get done are getting done. Maybe we don't know how that happens, but what if someone stepped into your life and was able to show you how that would happen? Would that be valuable for you?
Yes,
Awesome. Okay, so keep that in mind because one of the things that we're
I
also
wrote
going
it
to talk
down.
about when it comes to influence, which is the second in, is um, everybody wants someone who can understand the world in a way that we don't, but can move us forward. Okay, so if I have an understanding of the world that maybe you don't have, maybe I have a perspective that would allow you to go from I don't have enough time to get all these things done that I want to get done to wow, I actually feel some white space in my life and in my calendar, and yet I'm accomplishing more than I ever thought I could. And like, thank you so much for that shift in perspective or that introduction to the person or the process or system that alleviated that pressure, overwhelm, hustle. Like that would be huge, right? So one of the things to remember when it comes to insights is everybody has problems. Everybody is a person. So this guy here, his name is Steve Sims, and he wrote this book called Go for Stupid. And I met Steve at a mastermind that I was at in Newport Beach. I first heard about Steve when he was on a podcast like years ago. And he is like I don't even know how to describe him. He's like the world's number one concierge. So basically, if rich people want something, he makes it happen. So he got Elton John to come show up and play a private concert at somebody's birthday party. He got a group of people to privately meet with Elon Musk and like tour his, I think it was like tour the factory or like sit down and have dinner with him. Yeah. So this Steve Sims guy is like freaking amazing. And if you look him up online, he's kind of unassuming. Like he's definitely a little bit badass, a lot of it. And yet he's not like the most followed person. It's not like he is not, millions and millions of followers and the most popular person on the internet. But there's a lot of nuance to connecting with people who are well connected, who are highly successful, who can create a lot of leverage for you. Okay, so that's something to be mindful of is the nuance and thoughtfulness that you need to bring into the relationship matters. Okay, don't overlook people just because they don't have a lot of fame, because a lot of people can be like your next door millionaire. Um, Okay. And then privacy and trust is also something that I want to talk about because okay, so last year I went to an event. It cost $25,000 to go to just for 3 days. Like it was the highest level event I've ever been to. There was literally a dress code for each day. I had to wear like coastal casual, like nautical business, whatever it was. I have never been to an event so fancy and it was fabulous. I totally loved it. However, one of the events or one of the activities was held at the house of no, it was not the Met Gala, but dude, that would be awesome. One of the events was held at, there was like a presentation and like a dinner party, and it was held at a billionaire's house. His name is Palmer Luckey. He is the one who created Oculus, and sold that for like billions plus, and currently is doing like military grade drones technology. Um, okay, so here's a few insights to know about billionaires, particularly like Palmer Luckey. When we went to his house, there were security guards. Okay. Privacy and being able to trust the people around you is critical. I mean, look at what's happening in the world of politics. Like assassinations are being attempted. You think that it would be extremely critical for the people around you to be people that you could trust. Okay. Now, I'm assuming that none of our lives are literally on the line, right? But that doesn't mean that trust is not important to us, right? That doesn't mean that privacy is not important to us. I've had people um, exploit my children for their business gains, and that activates mama bear. Like you don't cross that line, right? Like there's certain lines that we don't cross. And this is also a long game. So when we're building relationships with people, one of the ways that we add value is we just let this be a long game. Okay. Put yourself in their shoes and take a look at things from their perspective of what would add value. So just like this exercise that we did of what would be valuable to you right now, um, what put yourself in their shoes, what's valuable to them. So like for Steve, I was like, hey, can I take a picture with you? I'd love to promote your book. I bought his book. I did some Facebook posts on it. I think I actually haven't written a review, but writing a review for people's books is a fabulous thing to do to add value to them. Letting them know, especially people who are in like a mentor type role to you, letting them know, hey, what you said, I implemented, and these are the results I got. It was really valuable. Like I was saying earlier with Michael, like be the number one testimonial. Those are ways to add value to people. Um, Let me know in the comments. Let's do a little check-in here. Do you guys have a person in mind that you would like to add value to? Oops, I've had someone in the waiting room here. Who, you don't have to put their name in the chat, but do you, yes or no, do you have someone in mind that you're thinking, I would love to connect with this person and I don't know how to add value to them? No one specific. In my dreams, Christina Aguilera. Oh my gosh, Dennis, you're so funny. Okay. Why? Because nothing's impossible. Valentina, not really, just not at the top of mind. Okay. Well, let's I really want to bring this in so this is like really tangible and helpful. Um, how are y'all feeling about insights? Do you feel like you're clear on, okay, here's how I could go get insights? Here's why insights are important, or should we dive into like how do we actually go comb out and find these types of insights? Do you guys want more tactics on that, or should we move to the next topic? Sean, yes. Yes to what? Sorry. Love her and legislation so much for me and others. My heart would just love to do something. Aw. Okay. Okay. Most of the decision makers for real estate and CEO are CEOs and CFOs. Okay. 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 So Annie, you're in real estate. Okay. So you're looking to connect with CEOs and CFOs. Is this commercial real estate? Is this okay? Both. More tactics. Okay. So, one thing that I do frequently with my clients is I will sit down and we will talk about who we need to connect with, and we will literally pull up their LinkedIn account and we will start looking at what's going on. So, let's see, should we stalk someone right now? I say yes. Okay, can you guys see this LinkedIn? Okay. Someone drop so CEOs, CFOs, Annie, where? Like, is that a geographic thing? Is it an industry thing? Like, let's find someone that you're looking to connect with on LinkedIn. Oh, speaking of Steve D. Sims, right at the top of my feed.
Oh, that's awesome. So I'm in Salt Lake City, so I focus normally on office and industrial buildings. Let me see if I can find someone for you real quick.
Yeah. Okay. Salt Lake City CEO. Henry O'Connell, Chief Executive Officer and founder at Canary Speech, Provo, Utah. Oh, CEO at Gab. Okay, I've heard of Gab. That's a tech company that provides like safe phones for kids. Um, let's just pop into this guy's account, see what we can find out about him. Do you want to go with this guy, or is there someone else you have in mind? This
That's
guy?
great. Let's use him
Okay.
as an example.
Okay, so let's pretend. No, this is kind of interesting because none of us know Henry O'Connell. He's just some random guy that we decided we were gonna try to connect with. So here's how I would think about this. I pull up his profile. Okay. Obviously, I know he's a CEO. He's got 10,000 followers. That's decent. That means he's relatively active on LinkedIn, which, well, actually, no, he's not. Look at that. 2 days ago, 4 months ago, 6 days ago. Somehow, this guy has gained a decent following. Okay. So that tells me that he's either a thought leader, people know him, based on who I'm mutually connected to him with. Doug is a past client of mine who's also an amazing coach. Um, Kedma is awesome. Like she's a very successful person. It looks like he's also connected to Scott Duffy. Scott Duffy is like a very high level connection of mine. So I'm starting to notice, okay, this guy is connected to me mutually through some really high level people. That is a great sign that he's probably a high quality person, a high value person, high net worth, like, kind of in this realm of he's in the big leagues, baby, right? Like, let's go. Um, okay, so then I'm going to look at his about, which is quite little. CEO of a tech-driven company in a very competitive market and industry. Okay, these are some really juicy clues right here. He's in a very competitive market and industry. What might be valuable for him if he's in a really competitive market? Going back to what we were saying here with influence, one way to add value to people is to share the way in which you see the world that they don't. Okay. So like Sean, who's on this call, unless I'm wrong and out of date, one of the things that Sean is really, really good at is helping to excavate insights from your data, how to target specific audiences and give them exactly what they want. Okay. So for someone who's in a very competitive industry, how valuable is it going to be for them to have nuanced insights about their buyers and how to speak to those buyers? Like that's going to be valuable. He says, I enjoy transition management with rapid change and demanding challenges. Okay, so this guy seems like he's fast paced. He likes the action. Okay. One tool that you can use is this tool called Crystal. So this is a Google Chrome extension. It's literally, where is it? Well, this is the Ask Crystal little side app. But this is a fabulous tool that can help you know how to communicate and influence people based off of their LinkedIn profile. Let's see, how do I open this up? I have no idea. Okay, we're going to go to the Ask Crystal website. Not a crystal ball. Not today. Okay. So Crystal is a tool that you guys can use to get insights about specific people on LinkedIn. Oh, like for example, here's mine on personality traits. Okay. How to speak to them, what not to say to them. In fact, I pulled this up for a specific profile for a client who is working with someone. It's his biggest client ever, like multi six-figure revenue just from this one single client. And we were looking at one of the key members in this organization and how to speak to him because there's some high stakes going on with how this relationship is navigated. And so the more information you have about people like this guy, Henry O'Connell, he's assertive, decisive, and independent. Communicate with a direct oriented approach. I have no idea why this won't let me like expand it. Oh, this button. Get right to the bottom line. Assert yourself with confidence. Don't be afraid to disagree. Okay, so these are insights about what would be valuable to you about Henry O'Connell. Now, to take things to tie in AI with this is gonna this blew my mind when I realized this. You could take someone's insider info. You cannot scrape data from LinkedIn. You have to manually do it. What that means is you can't, basically you have to copy and paste, like, here's the info about Henry O'Connell. You could pop that into ChatGPT and say, based off of the DISC profile, which of the 4 profiles is Henry most likely to be? And based off of that profile, how should I communicate with him? What are the do's and don'ts of reaching out through a cold, DM? What are the do's and don'ts of, giving him a phone call? Who might his gatekeeper be? Like, these are all questions that we should be asking ourselves in order to gain the right kind of insights that we need in order to really dig in and start building a relationship with someone. So when you're trying to connect with people, start with concentric circles. Look at who knows Henry, who knows the person you're trying to connect with. Of all these people, I probably have the closest relationship with Doug, but I could also talk to Kedma. I could also talk to Scott, and I could say, hey, this is why I want to connect with Henry. I would love a warm introduction. Is that something you would feel comfortable doing? And they might say, you know what? I really don't know the guy. We're just connected on LinkedIn. They might say, oh, I went to school with him. Like, our kids do baseball together. Like, I'm going to see him this Friday. I would love to introduce you. What do you want me to say? Right. So you got to start navigating the relationships that you have and start playing this game of like, you're like a detective, right? Kind of finding, how do I connect? How do I build a relationship? And how do I influence? So let's talk next about influencing here. So this is my friend Christian Hansen. He wrote this book called The Influence Mindset. This little picture here is my family and him at his parents' beach house down in LA. He and I connected last year and we've just really hit it off. And we've done some projects together. Annie knows him. So Christian and I are like business BFFs. And he wrote this book called The Influence Mindset. I highly recommend this book. If you want to know how to better communicate with people in a way that's influential and gets them to say, okay, I got to work with you. Like, this is clear. This is simple. I want to work with you. Okay. And Christian and I do some like business projects together. So we might be doing some things in the future with like trainings and kind of talking about that. But fabulous book. I highly recommend it. Just jump on Amazon and grab a copy. But influencing high net worth individuals comes back to this idea of what value can you bring to them that they don't already have. So sometimes there's this false belief that happens is when someone more successful than me already knows everything I know. And that's just simply not true. Okay, so I want you to pop in the comments, what are the skill sets that you have that bring value to your clients? What do you know and are really, really good at? What's the way you see the world that the person you're trying to connect with probably doesn't? Because so often we don't stop to actually sit down and think about the answer to that question. And we just assume, well, he's a millionaire, he doesn't need me. He's a billionaire, he doesn't need me, right? I guarantee you there are things that I am better at than Palmer Luckey. There's a lot of things he's better at than me. But I guarantee you that each of us in this room has something of value we can bring to anybody like anybody. Okay. Now it has to be relevant, right? So like Dennis, you're talking about connecting with Christina Aguilera, totally possible, not impossible. Okay. And the value you bring to her may not be through a business context. It actually could be through impressing upon her like how meaningful her work has been to you. Okay, I've got another story of a friend. He's actually a client. All my clients turn into my friends. Um, he is a president of a nonprofit organization. His job is to go find wealthy people who want to give money to their foundation. Okay. He read a book that was written by a religious leader that is like very, very prominent, very, very, I guess you could say famous, kind of in the world of his religion. And he was like, I would love to have a conversation with him about his book, like 10 minutes. So here's what he did. He found out who the gatekeeper was to this person. He reached out to this woman who was his secretary and said, look, I would love 10 minutes of his time. I want to let him know these three things about his book that were the most valuable to me. Like, and I have one question. You know, would he be open to having that conversation? And she was like, let me find out. Turns out, yes. He has the conversation. It ends up lasting over an hour. And he told me that this author was like, it was so refreshing to have someone engage in a meaningful, deep dialogue about this work they had poured their heart and soul into, who got value out of it. Okay, so think about it. Like let's just take this call, for example. If one of you after this call was like, man, Natalie, you said this and it really helped me. And then I went and I reached out to this person and I'm now going to have lunch with someone that I never thought I would. Right? Like if you guys went and took action from the things we're talking about today and you came back and you were like, this was so valuable. I'm so grateful for this. Like, thank you for sharing these things. That would be so valuable to me for a couple of reasons. One, it would help me know what's helpful content and what's not helpful. Number two, it would help me know that like maybe I'm kind of cool and like I can add value to people's lives, you know? Because some days you get down on yourself and you're like, am I just, like, what am I doing here? I'm working so hard and is it worth it? Right? Like sometimes we get there. It would also be valuable to me because I'd be like, awesome. Can I share what you just told me with my audience? Because I think that's going to bring more people in. Because if more people know about this, then they can get those results too. Right? So think about that and how you know, what's that unique thing that you can bring to somebody else? Um, and what's the thing that you could do that from a business perspective and a non-business perspective? Dennis, the value I can add, I have an in-depth understanding about the human psyche, people's subconscious and emotions, and the bigger picture of why things happen in people's lives, aka spirituality, and how all of that is interconnected. And I can help people take charge of that interconnectedness more consciously, gain awareness and peace with themselves, and create better experiences for themselves moving forward. Fabulous. Um, do you know how much chaos there is in people's lives, especially the lives of people who are running multiple businesses, who have, family, who are highly successful? There's a lot of chaos. Like there's so many ways we can add value. All right. What's been most valuable so far? Before we're going to jump into being indispensable, but let's maybe get some unmutes or some comments in the chat. What has been the most valuable insight so far, and what are you still curious about? In fact, I'm going to stop sharing so I can see. Annie, Maria. Maria, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while. Natalie, Valentina, 925, phone number, phone number, phone number. I don't know who's that, but Annie, anyone want to share what's standing out to you right now? Or what are you still curious about?
Like honestly, there's just like a lot of really good nuggets. Like it's just hearing different perspectives and like going over the LinkedIn was really helpful. Like how you look at that. And I've never heard of that tool that I is it Crystal, you said, the extension?
Crystalknows.com.
So that was really helpful. Like, so thanks.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. I've I kind of debated what to do with this topic because I feel like this could be like a 6-part series and we could really dive into tools and tactics, but we could also keep things high level. So today's a bit more high level. Um, oh, Valentina, I'm sorry your husband's not feeling well, but I will sure make sure you get the replay. Um, all right, so let's anything else, maybe pop it in the comments, but we're gonna move on to being indispensable. What do you think? What is who are you currently indispensable to? Think about that. Let's hear that.
My kids.
Okay. Girl, I was like, my kids, yes, kids. Kids. Okay. What makes us indispensable? I hope my wife. I'm sure. My clients. Yeah. Okay. What would that feel like for your clients to be like, oh my gosh, Sean is just indispensable. Annie is indispensable. Maria is indispensable to me. Natalie, your boss, coming up to you, like, I need to give you a raise because you cannot leave. Okay. So being indispensable, providing something that no one else can, providing a sense of security. Yes. Okay. So that goes back to when we talk about insights, how important it is to have trust, privacy, right? Um, these relationships, they can take a while. Like you have to be in it for the long game, right? Sometimes it's a slow drip. Sometimes it's like an instant boom. So when I went on that trip to visit Michael Hyatt, there was 4 of us, and I'm still friends with all the other 3. And one of them, he's like a brother to me. Like I've literally spent maybe 12 hours in person with this person. Yet we are so connected because of the depth of that experience, right? Which is also maybe a tactic to take note of is when you can get into the room with people and you can have a meaningful and deep experience, whether that be something that you create or that you are, going to participate in, that builds relationships. Okay. So one of the things about being indispensable, if I can share my screen here, is oops, to become a center of influence in your network. So being a center of influence means that you are the person that people think of when they want a problem solved. They're the person that they think of when they're like, who do I know that would have a resource or who would have a connection or who would have an answer for me? Like the topics that I talk about online are really strategy, marketing, AI. So I'll get people who will inbox me and be like, hey, there's a speaking event and I thought you'd be a really great fit to talk about this. Like, is that something that'd be interesting to you? And I'm like, oh, yes, I would love that, right? Or I'll get people that say, like just the other day, someone inboxed me and said, I really want to set up an AI customer service team that like AI that can take phone calls. Guess what? I'm not the person to provide that solution to them, but I can be a connector to that solution. And being a connector is valuable. Okay, so that is something to remember is being a connector is valuable. This book here, How to Be a Power Connector, is written by a woman named Judy Robinette. I met Judy when I worked at a university and we would host these lecture series where we brought in highly successful entrepreneurs to come talk to our students about how to build a business. And Judy left her glasses at our event. And so I drove an hour and a half to go take them to her because I was like, well, Judy needs her glasses. But I am more than happy to be memorable by being the person who went out of her way to bring her glasses. And like Judy takes my emails, like I built a relationship with her assistant, who, by the way, gatekeepers are indispensable to people, especially those, who have a lot of demand on their time and their resources. Gatekeepers are a key relationship for you to use to influence those end decision makers, because sometimes they are the end decision maker. Okay, so do not ever overlook the gatekeeper. That's the fastest way to get blacklisted. But this book is really, really great. It's called The 550-100 Rule. So she talks about the actual process of how to manage a network, how to build a robust network that is not just wide, but it's also deep. So it's a great book. I highly recommend. And probably in the future, maybe I'll even try to get Judy on to come talk about this, but we're going to unpack, like, how do you actually day to day, week by week manage your relationships? Like, in a spreadsheet, what do I text them? What information do I record about them? Like, so if that would be valuable, put a like 50 in the comments, because if that would be valuable, I'd love to go over that with you guys. But being indispensable is also something that you have to be proactive about. So one of the things I'm working on with a client right now is to become an influential voice within his community, like local community. And what that looks like is hosting events that are very tailored to his target audience. And his target audience isn't actually his buyer. His target audience is the key referral partners that are going to be give him access to warm referrals. Okay. We're also doing some like private dinner events where he is inviting his top mentors and people that have been the most influential in his life with some other strategic connections to like integrate everyone into each other, to ask for advice, but also to say like, hey, look, this is what I'm working on. Like, I want to let you guys know because you are key players on my leverage team, right? Like, our connections are points of leverage, because when people share who we are and what we do with their audience, they've already built that trust and that relationship, and we get to leverage that through that relationship. But you got to be really careful with that, because if you don't be responsible with other people's relationship currency, that is also a very vast way to lose with people. One of the things that I love, in fact, I don't know if you guys have ever seen or heard of these books. There's one called Steal Like an Artist, and then there's another one called Show Your Work. These are really great books. They're just tiny, like kind of these quick, fun little reads, but it's all about how do you show your value, not just say your value, right? How many of you feel like you are 10 out of 10 confident in expressing what makes you unique and valuable? And so like 1 to 10 in the comments. 10 is got this, thing, baby. Like, let's go, Beyonce. Let's do this. 5 is like, I could fumble through it. Like, I kind of know, but I feel like I might need practice. Like, I kind of, I would like, and a 1 is like, girl, help. Like, send the SWAT team, send the firefighter, send the SOS. I need help with that. Where are you guys at with being able to communicate your unique value? Queen Bee. Nice. 3, 4, 7. Cool. So we all always have room for improvement. This is something that there's 2 key components to this. One is your embodiment, your the energy, your conviction, like the in your body experience of like, yeah, man, yes, I'm valuable. Are you kidding me? I could totally kick butt and take names, right? And then there's the language side of things, where you're able to articulate and express and be nuanced and not say like, I'm going to take your business to new heights. Thanks, ChatGPT, we know, right? You and everyone else, right? But you say, um, I help women after their divorce to find who they are and love their body and, get ready for their next juicy relationship or whatever, like whatever that specific nuanced thing is that you do. Okay, so there's the language and then there's the energy and conviction behind that. So of those, which one do you guys feel, or maybe both, when it comes to like energy and the sense of knowing that you have of like, oh, dang straight, I kick butt and take names, sign me up, put me in, coach. Are you at put me in, coach? Are you good with energy? Are you good with language? Or do you need help with one or the other or both? So if you need help with energy, pop energy. If you need help with language, put language. If you need help with both, put both. Energy, both, both. I mostly need help with my language, energy. Okay, cool. Yeah, Valentina, girl, you bring energy. Valentina's like, let's go. I'll run circles around y'all in her. I feel like that's you, Valentina. You got this. Okay, fabulous. So, here's what I would recommend if you're feeling like, okay, the energy side and the language side. How do I go back? Okay, the language side. Christian and myself help clients with this. Like, read this book. That's what I would say to do. Plus, stay tuned. Like, I'm gonna do trainings about this. Like, these are the topics that we are really focused on over the next quarter. Okay, the energy side of things. Look, Steve Sims is so very different from me. And I think having a variety of perspectives about how people show up in the world and just own it is so helpful. In fact, oh, yay. Okay, your Tony Robbins is helping me with language. Awesome. Okay, so by the way, there's a free chat GPT persona that I created called my Tony Robbins GPT. You all can get access to this. It's just like this complimentary gift I've decided to just start giving people because it's been super helpful. And okay, hold on. I gotta find this Steve Sims post. Maybe we'll wrap up with this. So when it comes to your energy, I saw this post that Steve did the other day. This one, oh no, it's not that one. This one. Just because it offends you doesn't mean I'm wrong. Like, that is such a vibe that Steve gives off. He's like Irish, British. He's got this great accent, but he's like this big, burly, bald, just rough and tough guy, like a bouncer. And look, that's not all of us. Like, not all of us are like bald, rough, bouncer energy people, right? I'm not. But it's that authenticity that really shines through that like this would be what I would encourage you to do. Go find one or more people who fully embody just an authentic, total vibe that you're like, dang, I wish I could be like that. Like, I want to be more like that. That is amazing. And go watch their content. Like, go see what they post, see how they communicate, right? Think about the energy behind their communication and look at what they're literally communicating and use that as a guide for moving through your relationship building journey. So to wrap all of this up, we talked about insights, putting yourself in their shoes, stalking them on LinkedIn, figuring out what drives them, like what's their disc profile, how to communicate with them in a way that's going to influence. Okay. Number two, influence. Influencing is all about being clear about what makes you valuable and different, like the perspective that you bring, right? The outcomes that you create. Influence is also about playing the long game. Okay. And then being indispensable, that is about proactively playing the long game to add value. It kind of works backwards. It's being influential over time because of the insights that you dig up and find. Right? Awesome. So I would love to know what's been the most valuable thing for you guys today. What's been the takeaway or action that you're like, I'm gonna go do this. Or what a juicy nugget. This is valuable. Like this is gonna help me. Pop that in the chat. Unmute. Come on screen. All the book recommendations. Okay, fabulous. Yeah. Those are primo books. And the thing with books is like you're really sitting in the vibe of it, all valuable, getting me thinking. Okay, are you overwhelmed? I know sometimes I'm working on like not being overwhelming because sometimes I get super pumped about these things. Um, Overwhelmed, clear, you need better directive, like do this. Where are we at with that? Sorry, I'm looking like all the way over here because that's where my chat is. Let me move it over back to my main screen. Yeah. Download Crystal, hone in on your communications, find the people that you want to connect with, use it. Also leverage AI. I was trying to build an AI to give you guys today. I could give it to you, but it's not up to par with the quality that I demand from my AIs. So I wasn't going to share it today, but I'm going to add that to my list of like AI tools that I'm giving to my trailblazers. So yeah, just have some work to do. Cool. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for being here today. We'll be doing this again next week. So if you do want to get notified about stuff, let me know. I would say go to my website, but I'm pretty sure it's not working right now. Um, awesome. Not overwhelmed. I like your insight about what is the long-term game. That's okay that things need time. Totally. Sometimes I feel pressure to make things work fast. Yeah. No pressure. Like the energy of pressure behind something is just going to kerfluffle up your results. So release that. Let that go. Let it go. Let it go. And the insight that more successful people don't necessarily have what you and yeah. Yes. Like Palmer Luckey wears flip-flops and Hawaiian t-shirts and like has a goatee and knows probably everything ever about drones, but certainly he doesn't know everything about everything. So same thing with everyone that you meet, right? Being aware of why I'm not seeking these relationships. Yeah. So that's another good thing is like, what are the hesitations that are causing you to pause, to procrastinate, to convince yourself you can't? Um, those are all things to look at and unpack. So awesome. All right. Thank you guys. Have an awesome day, and we'll see you next time.